Okay, hello, welcome to the live, whether you are watching from Patreon or you are watching from Instagram or even a previous recording. I welcome you. I'm so excited. Tonight I'm doing something very special that I have not done ever before, and that is offering mini tea leaf readings during this live. And while I'm kind of waiting for people to grab their spots, and I'll explain how to do that in just a moment, I will be talking a little bit about tea leaf reading, how I got my start, what it is, and all that fun stuff. So if you are interested in getting a tea leaf reading from me tonight, you can do so. It's only $10. And you can either Venmo Phantasma Witch, which is the same as my Instagram handle. You can Venmo $10 with your question in the description of, what is it that you would like some guidance or advice on? And then if you don't have Venmo, don't worry. You can head over to my website, phantasmawitch.com, where if you go to services, you will see it listed as mini tea leaf reading live, and it's $10.50 on there, 50 cents, because the website charges every time somebody pays through the website, so my apologies. So there's a 50 cents difference, but if you are interested in getting a tea leaf reading from me, like I said, you can either do so through Venmo, Phantasma Witch, or phantasmawitch.com. That link is also in the description, in the links in my bio. So you can find it there. If you're having a hard time finding it, it'll take you directly to that payment part of the site. So yeah, we will just get started momentarily. And if we don't have anybody signing up for readings tonight, it is not a big deal. We can just make this a chit-chat live kind of night, which I'm also excited to do, to just kind of talk about tea leaf reading and what it is and all that fun stuff. So the other thing is, if you do sign up for a tea leaf reading, I'm also doing a giveaway for any of the people who decide to participate in having their leaves read, and you will win a 10-minute tarot reading session with me, which I will reach out to you and we will book another time. So let's talk a little bit about tea leaf reading. So you may have heard of the word tasseomancy or tasseography. These are two words that can be used when we are talking about tea leaf reading. There is a difference between the two words though. And I actually learned this through a wonderful tea leaf reader, and I'm totally blanking on their name right now, but I will include it in the descriptions when I post this, either in the comment section. But hello, thank you. Thanks for being here. So tasseomancy is when we are reading from a blank teacup. So you notice how this teacup has absolutely no symbols or graphic of any kind. You may have seen teacups that are meant for tea leaf reading that have patterns and designs and different things that have different meanings printed inside the cup. That is tasseography. Tasseomancy is when it's blank. So what I prefer is tasseomancy. I prefer the blank cup. And the reason for this is the blank cup allows me to be able to tap into my intuition a little bit more in a way that makes me feel like I can get into a flow a little bit more without overthinking things, which is the reverse for some people. Some people like having those extra graphics and designs and different things on the inside of their cup to kind of let them know how to read the tea leaves. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with tasseography versus tasseomancy. It's really up to the person who's reading the tea leaves, which one they resonate with more, which one works best for them. And I have a tasseography cup, but it's strictly astrology. So it has the different astrological symbols. It has like a sun at the bottom, and it has like the dates at the top. It's not specific for tasseography, but I could use it for that. But I prefer being able to see all of the tea leaves very clearly at the bottom of the cup again, that's my personal preference. There are so many ways to read tea leaves. There are so many ways to read tea leaves. You can talk to 5 different tea leaf readers, and I guarantee you they will all say something different on how they read tea leaves. Some people only use the cup. Some people use the saucer and the cup. Some people flip the cup over. Some people don't. Some people say that you have to drink the tea in order to be able to read the tea leaves. Other people say you don't. So this is one of those things where tea leaf reading, tasseomancy, tasseography can really vary depending on the reader, depending on how that person prefers to read the leaves. So for anybody who's just now joining, if you would like your tea leaves read, I am doing that tonight. It's $10. You can either Venmo Phantasma Witch, or you can head over to phantasmawitch.com. The link is in my bio. So when it comes to the different tasseography cups, the cups that have the art at the bottom, those are also all completely individual and different and unique. So there's one that is more witchy based that I've seen, like an old one from, I think it's from the, I may be wrong, but I think the original print of that cup was like in the 40s or something, and it's all witchcraft themed. There's another one that's all playing card themed. There's another one that is all different kinds of random symbols, and these have been around, these kind of tasseography cups have been around since, oh my goodness, they've been around for a very long time now. So let's talk a little bit about where tasseomancy, tasseography has come from. And if you have taken my class on tea leaf reading, then this will all sound very familiar. And if you're interested, that class is offered on my website. So, when it comes to the history of tea leaf reading, it's very muddy. There is no, and when I say muddy, I mean there is no like hyper specific place that we can go back in historical records and say, this is it right here. We know for an absolute fact that this is how tea leaf reading began. It's kind of a little harder to tell than that. And so from as far as we can tell is, yes, tea in ancient China, that definitely, we can trace that back. There was tea leaf reading happening then. But we also know that in other countries, there was coffee ground readings. So instead of tea, they were using the coffee grounds at the bottom of cups. So that's something for anybody who's interested. If you don't like drinking tea, you can also use coffee grounds. So we can see that tea leaf reading was an art form all over the world, but at a certain point, it did get popular in Europe. And how did it get popular in Europe? Well, we actually can thank the Romani people from that. As far as we can see, we can trace back the tea leaf reading history as coming into Europe into popularity when the Romani people would go to door to door, they'd go to bars, they'd go to different locations, and they would offer their services. Now, their services were anything from tarot reading to palm reading to tea leaf reading. It really depends on the group that was kind of traveling at that time, what they focused on. And this is something you can actually learn a lot more from the wonderful people at Romanistan podcast. They were both on my podcast. I highly recommend checking out that episode in which we talk a little bit about this as well. I'm trying to figure out if you pay just buy a tea leaf reading ticket, even though it's dated for February. Oh, is it dated for February? Let me check. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Let me see. So if you go to phantasmawitch.com and you go to services, if you scroll down to tea leaf reading Friday the 26th at 7 p.m., it should open up and it should say mini tea leaf reading live, $10.50. Let me know if that is making sense. I don't know why it's dated February. I'm looking at it and it says the image says Friday 26th, 7 p.m. So I'm not sure which one you're looking at. There's only one tea leaf reading thing offered. The only other thing that's on my website for tea leaf reading is Intro to Tea Leaf Reading, which is a Zoom class. But let me know, Philosophical, if you are able to see that. Let me go to the link. Okay, sounds good. So, Romani Stan podcast, definitely, hi Caitlin, definitely check out the Romani Stan podcast where I talk to them on my podcast about that, the Oracle Parlor podcast, but they also talk about that on their podcast, and they have a wonderful book about it. I should have grabbed it before the live, but it's, actually, I'm going to go grab it right now. Hang tight. I'm going to find my book. Hold on. Let's see. Here we go. All right. I have to do a call out because this book is excellent, and I highly recommend it for anybody who wants to learn more. So it's called The Secrets of Romani Fortune Telling, and it's by Jasmina and Paulina. Again, really amazing place to learn more about the stuff that we're talking about in this live. I highly recommend it. So this is how tea leaf reading really got popularized. It was because the Romani people were going to different locations and offering their tea leaf reading. Let me take a sip of water. Oh, perfect. Okay, I think that was Philosophical, so I think they're going to pop back in a second here. And that should, let's see here. All right. Thank you, everyone, for, yes, okay, perfect. I just got it. Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you were able to find the link and everything worked out for you. So, let's see here. Okay. And did you have a specific question that you wanted to ask for your tea leaf reading, Philosophical? Let me know in the comments in the live. And the reason why I'm looking over here is because all my stuff is here. So as you type in your question, I'm going to prep the cup. So as you can see here, these are my tea leaves. These tea leaves, I don't remember exactly what tea this is. Just whatever comes through. Okay, perfect. So these tea leaves, I forget what one I had used for this, but this is what I use for all my readings. So the reason why I like these tea leaves the best is because if you can see, they're nice and small. So I'm able to get like a lot of nice texture when I am adding the tea leaves and I'm reading them. I find that some tea leaves are very, very big and they create very distinct blotches within the cup, which is fine. But I prefer the more granulated tea leaves because it creates more for me to be able to like read and look at. So when I'm doing readings like this, whether it's in person, like at an event of some kind, because I've done these kind of readings for events. What I like to do is I have my tea leaves at the ready, and I'll just add like a scoop or two of tea leaves into my cup with just a little bit of water. And that allows me to get the same effect that you would from a tea leaf reading if you had somebody drink the tea leaves. Now, I'm not the kind of person who's going to sit here and be like, you absolutely have to drink the tea in order for a tea leaf reading to work. I am able to do tea leaf readings without a problem. But essentially, you want just a little bit of water at the bottom of the cup to be able to swirl it around. That's what I do. For anybody who's curious as to what I am doing right now. So when I'm swirling the tea leaves, I'm just going to kind of tap in. Sorry, signal keeps lagging. Are your lives recorded? Oh, yes, the lives will definitely be recorded. So philosophical, if it cuts out at any point, you can definitely rewatch the live here, or you can even rewatch it on my Patreon. So, and it'll be up for everyone to view on Patreon. It should be. So, all right. So we're just going to tap in, and I have your name here, so I'm going to reference that, but I won't share it on the live. So what is the guidance? What is the message coming through? I just like to swirl it around, get the tea leaves moving around. Okay, cool. So the first thing, and I'll let you actually take a look at the tea leaves that I'm looking at. So this is how the tea leaves came out, looking at your cup. And for this kind of quick reading, I'm not going to be using the plate that I have here. I'm just going to be using the cup. So the first thing that I actually saw, there was a few different things. I kind of saw what looked like at first almost like a sailboat with lots of giant sails and big flags. And so this kind of energy, it feels like it's very transitional. Like you're coming into this new moment where there is like almost like this big announcement kind of energy to it. Like this big, here I am, very big. It's like taking up a lot of space and really a proclamation of this is where I am going. This is how I am moving forward. This is the direction that I am headed. And it's very much this vibe of exploring new things. At the same time, there's an axe, but it's facing behind you. So this axe kind of makes me feel like there is so much work that had to go into building whatever this is that you are moving towards. You spent a lot of time and a lot of energy doing that prep work, doing that building, cutting things out and down so that way you could clear this path forward so you could go on this new kind of exploration. And the thing that's really coming through is while you're moving into this big, grand unknown, it can feel very scary. It can feel kind of ominous in the way that it's almost like just because you're sailing off into a direction that you don't know what's on the other side, and it looks like there's possibly storm clouds, that doesn't mean that bad things are ahead. It just means there's this great unknown, and you have to kind of be able to trust that process of like, okay, the wind is in my sails, I am moving forward, and I will face whatever is ahead of me, even if I'm not exactly sure what that is. The other thing is too, amongst all this stuff that you have kind of laying ahead of you, there's this like this almost like this unseen kind of energy that may also be coming up for you, because what I'm seeing is in front of this ship, in front of this little ship that I'm seeing. So you may not see it, but this is how I'm reading it. I'm also seeing like almost like a submarine or a whale that's approaching the ship that is unseen. So as you're going through on this new venture and this new journey, whatever that may be for you, like, again, it's, you know, I'm moving forward, I'm exploring, I'm taking in whatever needs to happen. But if there are things that are unexpected lying beneath the surface, just being able to be like, okay, something could pop up and I know that I can handle it. Because what may seem like a shark circling the boat may actually be a dolphin. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting. And I know this is how I do tea leaf reading. It's very symbolic in this way. So what may seem like this dark, shadowy thing that's rapidly approaching as you're testing the waters, as you're trying something different and new and kind of like unsure about it, that doesn't mean that every cloud in the sky or every shadow in the ocean that lay ahead of you is a bad thing. It may be unexpected, but you are more than capable to handle it because you did all that work, because you did all that preparation, because you cleared the path before you. You're kind of like on this journey of like, it can't stop me. But as long as you're telling yourself that, like, I can manage whatever comes up, I can handle whatever happens, you'll be fine. It is the unknown, and it sucks, I know. Having been on the other side of this, it does stink when you get a reading and part of the reading is you don't know. And that's okay if you don't know. So that's kind of part of what your reading is to trust the not knowing part of it. All right. I hope that makes sense for you, philosophical. Thank you so much for participating. Thank you for getting your tea leaves read. For anybody else who is interested in getting their tea leaves read, I am going to be doing this for a bit longer. You can either go to the link in the bio of my page, and it will take you directly to where you can purchase a ticket, or you can Venmo. You're very welcome. I appreciate you. Thank you. Or you can Venmo me $10 at Phantasma Witch. Okay, so this is why we keep a towel nearby, because sometimes a little mess happens, and a little mess ain't a problem. So, kind of going back to what we were talking about when it comes to tasseomancy, tasseography, tea leaf reading. So, as I was talking about with Romani Fortune Telling by Jasmina von Thiel and Paulina Stevens. Sorry, Jasmina, if I got that wrong. But, you know, the Romani people really popularized it and brought it over to Europe because it was a tool of survival for the Romani people. It was the way that they were able to keep living and making money, was offering their services. And so because they were going around and offering their services like tarot reading, like tea leaf reading, this brought more and more awareness to these different kinds of practices. And so during the time that it was really starting to pick up in popularity, we had a lot of like Victorian tea parties. And so, of course, you already have people who are doing tea parties. So, of course, having somebody come in and read your tea leaves during that time was like perfect combination. And so it started to become a thing where, you know, anybody who is aware of the Victorians will know that the Victorians were very much into metaphysical. They were very much into spirit communication. They were very much into, you know, all these different kinds of practices. And so tea leaf reading was another one of those things that brought a lot of attention and popularity, because that was just something that was like really heightened at that time. I'm gonna take another drink here. So as tea leaf reading became more and more popular and it was getting more and more widespread, what ended up happening was companies, of course, capitalism, companies, they would come in and say, you know, a lot of people really seem to like tea leaf reading. This seems to be growing in popularity. How can we market that? How can we make money off of that? You'll have to excuse me. I'm over here looking at my other laptop just to make sure everything is going well. And apparently, yet again, Patreon has disconnected the live. This happened last time I tried to do a dual live, and I don't know what's going on. So I apologize, Patreon folks. I will upload this video later. So yeah, a lot of companies came in and said, how can we market and make it profitable for us? Because everybody loves tea leaf reading. And that's where tasseography became a thing. So at that point in time, there were no teacups or anything, like I said at the beginning with the graphics at the bottom of the cup. It was just like this plain cup. It was simply a plain cup that was used for tasseomancy, again, being popularized by the Romani people. So different potters started to create cups and saucer combinations that specifically had different signs, symbols, and different archetypes at the bottom of the cup. They would paint on these little graphic shapes. So again, this could be playing cards, this could be I know one of them has like different astrological symbols mixed with things like a dagger, a heart, a top hat, different random things that hold some kind of meaning. And then they would come with a little booklet on here's how you do it. So the idea was when they made the cups, the idea was that anybody would then be able to read their own tea leaves, that you did not have to know how to read the tea leaves in order for you to be able to do it. So instead of hiring somebody who would come to your door and be like, hey, I will read your tea leaves for you, you could do it yourself. You could have a whole party of everybody drinking out of their own cup and then reading from their own cup, because now it was more accessible to people who didn't know how to innately do it, who weren't taught through lineage or whatever. So that's where tasseography started to become popular. Now, again, that isn't to say that that's where tea leaf reading came into existence, because again, we do have evidence of plenty of other cultures all around the world doing all different forms of it. So, as you can see, the tea leaves that I'm using are pretty fine and pretty small. So, if you do coffee ground readings, it's very similar, if not even finer than this. And so if you've ever had like a really good cup of coffee that has like the grounds left at the bottom, you can use that to read your own coffee grounds. So if you want to learn more on how you can specifically read your own tea leaves or coffee grounds, I have that class up on my website that you can purchase, and you can learn how to do it for yourself. So for anyone who is, we're just about at the halfway point actually, and we don't have a whole lot of other people signed up for the evening, so this is just going to turn into a chit-chat video, and I'm just going to continue on with the conversations. So let me tell you a little bit about how I actually began tea leaf reading. So when I was a kid, I used to do a lot of things that I didn't know had names for it until I was an adult. So for example, you may have heard me talk about how when I was younger and I first started reading tarot, I actually didn't have a tarot deck at the beginning. I was using a regular deck of playing cards to tell other kids their future is what I used to say. I could tell you your future, and I'll use this deck of playing cards. And so what I had been doing unknowingly was cartomancy. So that's what that is called when you're using playing cards to predict the future or anything of that nature. That's cartomancy. So I had been doing cartomancy as a kid without ever realizing that's what it was, until my mom had seen me doing it and heard about me doing it. And she was like, oh, you're essentially doing tarot reading. And I was like, what's tarot? And that's when I got my first deck. And I was about, I would say I was between 12 and 13 years old, I think. So I had been reading since then and ever since then. And this was the same with tasseomancy, because again, I didn't have the decorative cups. I didn't know that it was really a thing. I just sort of was doing it. And this is something that I actually hear a lot of other witchy people and psychic folks will actually say. I was just kind of doing this. I didn't know it was a thing. I didn't know it had a name. So what I would do is, growing up, I used to drink a lot of tea. Like, my family is a family of tea drinkers. And so whenever there was sediment at the bottom of my cup, and I'm not talking about like this is a ridiculous amount of tea leaves, right? Like, this isn't what you would typically get in a cup if you're having an actual cup of tea. Usually you would, have a tea bag, or you would have a little, like something to drain it, right? So when I was a kid, there would be like a little bit of granulated, super, super fine tea leaves left at the bottom of my cup. And I used to leave a little bit of liquid in, and I would, like, just what I did earlier, I would just kind of swirl it around. And then I would kind of look at what was left at the bottom of my cup. and I would see whatever I would see. And I wasn't doing it to predict anything. I wasn't doing it to tell the future. I was doing it to see whatever shapes I could get. What shape wanted to come up? What did it look like for me? And I remember the first time I really put intention into it beyond like, I just want to see whatever like shape was going to pop up for me. It was when I was, I think like a teenager. I had gone out to dinner with someone I was dating at the time. And when we were out to dinner, it was like a Japanese restaurant, and they had served us a cup of green tea. And when I got to the bottom of the green tea, there was a lot of like green tea powder left at the bottom of the cup. So I did that. I swirled it around. And this was like the first time that I had put that intention in of kind of like that predictive, because at that point in time, when I was in my teens, I was getting really into predictions. I was having a lot of like experiments, just kind of dabbling in that kind of idea. So rather than just like whatever wants to come through, I was like, no, I want to know. And so I had taken this cup of green tea and I had swirled it around, and my intention was I wanted to know what was going to happen within the relationship with this person I was having dinner with. Because at the time, this person I was having dinner with, they were just somebody I was going on a date with. So I kind of swirled the bottom of the cup, and then I tipped it and looked down, and when I looked into the cup, it was a big heart. And it really blew my mind, because this was the first time I had ever put intention into actually trying to read tea leaves. I had been reading tea leaves just to see what would happen, but now I had a clear, definitive idea of what I wanted a message about. And I actually stayed with that person for about 5 years. That was like one of my longest relationships back when I was younger. And I always think about how I got that heart at the bottom of the cup. And I was like, wow, that's really interesting that this was like the first time I really put that intention in. And then that's what I got. So I was just kind of doing it for fun. And I was just doing it based on my own instincts and my own internal gut reactions of what I felt like the symbols and shapes and patterns at the bottom of the cup were kind of intuitively coming through for me. So I actually have no formal training in tasseomancy. This is not something that I took classes on. This is not something that someone taught me. It's not something that was like passed down in my family. It was all intuitive based. And when I got to be older and I started, I had been, like I said, I had been reading tarot all my life. And then I started doing it professionally. And so when I got to a point where I was reading tarot professionally, I started asking myself, what other things could I offer outside of just tarot that bring me a lot of joy, that also bring other people joy? And one of the things that I had been doing at that time was I would have solstice and equinox tea parties. This was pre-pandemic. I would have all my witchy, magically minded friends come over, and everyone would bring something for the table. So like some people would bring fruit or cookies, or I'd make tea sandwiches, and we would do a tea party. And part of the tea party was reading each other's birth charts and tarot cards. I miss doing these. I miss it so much. But I would read people's tea leaves at this party that I used to host. And so when I was trying to come up with ideas of like what else I could offer other than tarot reading as part of my business, I was like, I'm going to offer tea leaf readings. And it actually became very popular with not so much like one-on-one bookings, because as you notice, it's not listed on my website anymore. You can't get a tea leaf reading with me anymore. It can be a special request thing, but it's not like it used to be where it was always on my site. But it became very popular for Hollywood events. I have done a Sony movie premiere. They asked me at this Sony Pictures was having a movie premiere and they wanted a bunch of different readers, but they didn't want all tarot readers. So they had reached out to me asking me to be a tea leaf reader. And so that was like the first time I got to do like a major event as a tea leaf reader. And it was just so much fun. I also have done it at like Magic Market. But it does get a little bit messy. So, and it's very delicate. So yeah, that's kind of like the history of how I started actually reading tea leaves. And the reason why I love sharing my history, my background on tea leaf reading is because it's really, I hope, a way to help people realize that anybody can do this, that it's not something that you have to be formally trained in. You don't have to have somebody who taught you. You don't have to have that lineage. Like, does it help? Yes. Can it be more informative and deepen and enrich in your understanding of it? Absolutely. But it's not a requirement. It's not something that you have to do in order to be able to tea leaf read. Anybody can practice tea leaf reading. Anyone. And like I said earlier, it's really about how you want to read the tea leaves. How do you want to dive into this? How do you feel called to work with it, if at all? And the first way that you can start doing it is just start. Just have fun with it. Don't try super, super hard and get caught up in the, should I be looking for this? Should I be doing that? How should I? Just do whatever feels right and just see how it happens, how it plays out for you. So, with all that being said, I hope you all enjoyed this live. I hope you all enjoyed watching this recording. If you are watching the recording and you have any questions, any comments about tea leaf reading, tasseomancy, tasseography, let me know. And like I said, I will put the person that I was talking about that I learned a bit more deeper information on tea leaf reading. They actually are Taotat, Taotat on Instagram. I believe that is their handle. But either way, I will be sure to tag them in the comment section or in the description of this video, and you can check out their stuff as well. There's really not a whole lot of tea leaf readers out there, I have found. I think in my time here in LA, which LA is full of practitioners, I have only heard of 2 other tea leaf readers here in LA, which is wild because I could list about 1 million tarot readers, and I can list at least like 3 to 4 different palm readers. Palm readers are another one you don't see too much of. But yeah, like I was saying, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for attending, and I will see you next time.